wanted to run my practice, I just needed to attend this school. And it's very true, because when you do the medical school, you learn what is the eye, what is medicine, you learn the clinical part of the job. But actually, they don't teach you the business side of becoming a physician. If you want to become a physician, let's say physician CEO, because at the end of the day, you are always on stage because you are running your practice, which is kind of a small company, maybe with 10 or 20 employees, doesn't matter, according to the dimension of your practice. So you are a CEO and you need to face issues like bills, depreciation, employees, human resources, and so on. So you need how to manage people, how to get the best from every person. You need to know when to hire someone, maybe when to fire someone, so where to invest, where not to invest. And of course, nobody can tell you the secrets, because the secrets maybe are inside you. But if you go to MBA school, as I did, they give you the tools in order to better understand the reality and in order to have the metrics, because you want to make your decisions according to the metrics. So you want to have a kind of a dashboard in front of you, helping you in the decision you want to make day by day. So this is not a clinical decision, it's a CEO decision. So you want to become a CEO, first of all, in your mind, then in your school, if needed, just to run a practice, to run a company. Of course, this is not mandatory. I started my practice before going to this school, but this really changed my mind. So I strongly recommend all the colleagues just willing to run a new practice to consider going to an MBA school. I went to the MBA in Kellogg in Northwestern University, which is an excellent executive MBA school. But there are different schools in all the world. And maybe after the pandemic, I was lucky enough because I went before the pandemic. Now it's more difficult for obvious reasons. But anyway, I strongly recommend all my colleagues to consider this possibility, just to open your mind to the business direction.
That's very interesting. I agree with you that business school is important to run a practice. I understand you started your practice from zero. Can you explain more about that?
Yes, so I started from zero because at the beginning I just finished my residency school, and I didn't have any office so far at the moment. So I decided to try this adventure. I was lucky enough because at the beginning I didn't have any money, and having the money, of course, is an issue at the beginning. It's always an issue, even when you are adult, even when you are old. So you need a huge quantity of money. And I was lucky enough because I met two colleagues and they somehow invested on me. They are not ophthalmologists. They are one plastic surgeon and one dentist. And together we built this clinic where I am sitting right now. It's a 5-story building here in my town. And of course, I didn't have the money at the beginning, but they invested in me because I was fun. I don't know why. They found probably good reasons to do so. And so now I'm very thankful to them. And so we started together. At the beginning, I just used to pay a small amount of money. And then I became a partner of the biggest society. Now we share the whole building and we became a society, 1/3 each. So now I'm paying out this debt with my colleagues, but I was lucky enough to meet them. And of course, at the beginning, you need to have a loan or you need someone investing on you or maybe banks, venture capitalists, capital angel, whatever. You need the money, and if you are an entrepreneur, because you want to be an entrepreneur, you will find the money. You will find a way to have the money. There are many, many ways, and this is the way I exploited. And now I started from zero 5 years ago, and this is the 6th year of activity, and this is the story. So I have 15 people working for me. They are my employees. And in the bigger clinic we are now 50 people. So this is probably the middle of a good story that started from zero. You're right.
Meanwhile, why is technology a key for success in your practice, would you say, Dr. Russo?
Well, technology is your polar star, because you want to pursue technology all the time, because ophthalmology is a very technological field. Now, we are very lucky these times because we have a menu with, I would say, a dozen of options for refractive surgery, ranging from ICL, SMILE, PRK, cross-linking, intracorneal rings, or whatever. More or less 12 options. And maybe you can also combine them in order to have an even broader menu for your patients. So we can treat pretty much every defect, every refractive problem. And so having technology aside is pivotal. And also you have to take into consideration that beyond having all the tools in your pockets, in Italy, my main competitor is the NHS, the National Health System, that gives the health to the people for free. Okay, so my patients can go to the hospital to have cataract surgery for free. So my added value is offering the best technology available, maybe to get rid of glasses, to have a supervision. So technology is the added value that a a refractive practice must offer to patients. And also, this was now generating the momentum to get new patients, because they know we have the best technology, or at least what I believe being the best technology. And they spread the word and they refer you new patients. Also, we developed a software to have a kind of artificial intelligence within the practice, the clinic. So all the data coming from all the equipment is automatically stored into the cloud, where there is a virtual machine helping me with a clinical decision. And this is technology nowadays, because we are lucky, we have so many equipment, we have so many data for each eye. Before operating on one eye, maybe I have 1,000 different values coming from all the equipment we have. So we needed something helping me to put all those numbers together and not to lose those numbers, because they have a huge value. Just imagine for a research point of view, for improving your nomograms and so on. So having technology aside is mandatory and pivotal, I would say.
Okay. And you also mentioned before that you upgraded from pre-owned equipment from the first couple of years of practice to now the best technology. What types of technology do you own actually?
Oh, well, yes. I started from zero, so I started with no money. I had people investing on me. And at the beginning, I started with pre-owned equipment, pre-owned everything: microscope, phaco, excimer laser, femtosecond, and whatever. But if you do well, you can quickly generate the momentum needed, the cash flow needed in order to reinvest. Because, of course, you want to reinvest the cash flow, the income you have in improving yourself, your practice, your employees, the clinical practice at the end of the day. So if you are lucky enough to have patients, because you are probably a good doctor, because don't forget that you want to be a good CEO, but also being a good doctor is fundamental. And with the cash flow you get, you can improve, you can change your equipment and upgrade to what I believe is the world-class equipment nowadays available. So just to answer your question, I upgraded to the best femtosecond laser available today, which is the Visumax, in my opinion, to the best excimer laser available, which is the MEL90, to the best microscope to do cataract, ICL, whatever, which is the Zeiss Lumera, with the augmented reality, which is the Callisto, with an excellent IOL master, which is the 700. I used to have a pre-owned one. Everything was pre-owned at the beginning. Now I have the best slit lamps. I have the best laser also to do cataract surgery. In my opinion, is the one from Johnson & Johnson. So what I believe is the best technology is now here in my practice, because I want to be sure to offer the best to my patients, because the best for your patients at the end of the day is the best for you as a doctor, because they refer new patients and you become let's say a key opinion leader maybe in your area, and this makes you more important for your colleagues and for your patients. And so this helps just keeping the momentum very, very good. So this is the technology we have. And of course, this is not a still picture, because it's a very involving environment. It's a very fast changing environment. So you want to keep updated with technology. Of course, this is expensive. It's true, it's expensive. But aside investing in equipment, you want to also invest in people, because you want to teach your nurses, your staff, your technicians how to do well for the patients. And also, I mentioned investing on technology. I have a mathematician working with me in my practice, and she is a programmer. She is helping me in developing what I told you, the artificial intelligence. And so with technology, I do not only mean equipment, also people with a technological mindset is needed. So this is the technology we have, ranging from Zeiss to human people, human resources.
Dr. Russo, amazing perspective there. Thanks. It's a beautiful place, Italy, there I can see as well. We're now going over to Dr. Van Heerden of Australia, and you've got some great sheds in the background. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right. Well, I understand you found a remarkable refractive surgery niche in Melbourne. In fact, you're the only surgeon to have SMILE there and also offer Presbyon. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so we, myself and my business partner, we opened our refractive surgery practice in early 2020. I've been building up to getting my own practice for some time, but as Andrea said, it's not easy. You have to have cash flow first, and so we didn't have other backers. We were our own backers, so it took a while to be confident enough to take that leap. And to me, it was a very obvious choice to invest in a Zeiss refractive suite with, we offer everything, including, SMILE, Presbyon, LASIK, PRK, the whole works. And just to have that point of difference in offering both SMILE and Presbyon has really given us a foot up, a very easy foot up and a very obvious foot up when compared to our competitors. Most of our competitors in refractive surgery competitors in Melbourne have been around for ages, and they've dominated the market for ages. And as a result, no one really new has come into the market. So to me, it was a very, very obvious and easy choice to make in investing in SMILE and going down that route.
So I hear that in Melbourne, there's a large Asian population, which might be particularly attracted to SMILE. Is that correct, and why?
Yeah, so look, obviously pre-COVID era, Melbourne attracts a lot of international students. In fact, international students are our second biggest commodity after coal, believe it or not. So and there's a huge proportion of those individuals come from China, from Korea and India. So we know that Smile is immensely popular in China. So, you know, the marketing's already been done. And yeah, as soon as we opened up, you know, it was very obvious that was a market that we needed to target. In fact, there's a surgeon in Adelaide, which is, you know, a good 40-minute flight from Melbourne, that used to advertise Smile for Melbourne patients. So, you know, patients would look in Melbourne, would fly to Adelaide to go have Smile because they're so desperate to have Smile rather than LASIK. So, you know, and that was clearly targeted towards the big Asian population in Melbourne. So yeah, a real opportunity.
Is king in any new business startup. And so can you tell us about your experience finding money to pay for your new business?
Well, yeah, as Andrea said, it is tough, and you know, it's a large financial output that you have to put out. It's a big sort of risk. You think it's a big risk, but actually, it's not really a big risk at the end of the day, because it's a pretty guaranteed income, because you know it's a good product. So, you know, refractive surgery is very popular. Smile is even more popular. So it's a very easily marketable and sellable asset. And it's just that as long as you do a good job and you're a good doctor at it, then it's really easy to do. So the way we, myself and my business partner, have worked this is that we've got other eye ophthalmology clinics which are functioning and been busy for 10 years. So we do all our cataract surgery through those individual practices. And then the income derived from that was used to back up used as financial backing to start up the refractive surgery practice. I like to keep them separate because they are, you know, two different entities. The refractive surgery patients need to be treated with kit gloves and sort of mollycoddled, and we've created a really beautiful, aesthetically beautiful refractive surgery practice. Which does appeal to the refractive surgery patients slightly more than our general clinics, which are, you know, appeal, obviously, you need to accommodate all people from all walks of life.
Okay, traditionally, there has been some antagonism between optometrists and ophthalmologists in some parts of the world, but you have somehow found a way to leverage your relationship with the optometrist. You want to explain about that?
Yeah, so we've done a few things for that. Number one, we always try and get the optometrists involved. So if optometrists refer patients to us, then we do the surgery, we check the patients afterwards, but then we always try and get the patients to go back to the optometrist for a checkup and get the optometrist to feel like they're part of that journey. That's the first thing. We get quite a few patients from regional Victoria. So they come from quite far away. They're referred by the optometrist. So we engage with the optometrist in those sectors to do a bit of the post-operative care, which really helps, and they sort of at least feel part of the journey. And the third thing that we've done is we've run quite a few wet lab seminars. We've got optometrists in to do Smile surgery on cadaver eyes or pig eyes. And yeah, and they really got involved and enjoyed that. And one last thing that we've done is we've had a number of optometrists come to us wanting to have Smile. And so we do that at a very discounted rate. And once you do Smile on an optometrist, you've got a referring for life. You know, that's a guaranteed referral pathway. And, you know, steady referral pathway. It's really, really good. So those are very simple steps that we've done. I certainly don't feel like there is an antagonism at all between us and optometrists. The first thing we always say to optometry is that, you know, of all the patients out there in the world who need glasses, you know, it's only a small, tiny percentage that actually go and have refractive surgery. So, and I mean, I think there's no shortage of work for optometrists in Australia or probably around the world. So I don't think they have any problems with that at all.
Well, we're just now at a freckle past a hair. I mean, just 20 minutes past the top of the hour. And I think we're going to move on to Dr. Claudine E Peng, our co-host here today, and I have the honor to ask you a few questions. So Dr. Peng, you are an accomplished cataract, refractive, and vitreoretinal surgeon. Did being an expert in all of these fields help you build to be a better business, a better practice?
Yes, definitely. I thought it did help to be a vitreoretinal surgeon in addition to refractive cataract, because it gives me the confidence to deal with most situations, be it a dislocated intraocular lens or cataracts with epiretinal membranes concurrently or cataracts with pathological floaters. It also allowed me to offer my patients refractive solutions despite their retinal conditions. For example, I do offer the EDOF lenses, the extended depth of visual intraocular lenses for patients with epiretinal membranes, macular holes, and that has worked very well for me. And I think it gives me an edge to be able to offer refractive solutions together with vitrectomy.
Right. Well, I know that you have 7 rules in building a successful refractive practice. Can you kind of roll some of those off for us?
Okay, yeah, I have these 7 so-called rules or tips that help me in building my practice. So the first one is talent. Well, I recognize that we need talented people who have an edge above others in their respective field, be it nurses or in optometry. So in order to attract talent, I think remuneration is very important. I don't skim on that aspect. And in order to keep them happy, I consider their welfare in all situations. I feel that when the team is happy in terms of how much they're paid or in terms of personal development, it shows and it can translate into how they deal with the patients and the overall customer experience. And the second point would be team. I believe that the doctor is only as good as his or her team. If the doctor rolls out really good treatment, but there's poor supporting staff and there's poor customer experience, then the entire patient experience is compromised. I think it's important to have a very coherent team that matches the doctor's high standards. And in building a team spirit, I try to involve my team in certain meaningful projects outside of work where we can give back to community, such as be it free eye screenings or maybe donations or distribution drives, this kind of charitable work. I feel these projects actually build a culture of treating the patients as the most important, and it builds a team spirit and camaraderie between everyone as well. So number 3 would be technology. Yeah, I echo the same as Dr. Russo that technology is the key to a good practice. So I invest in the most advanced and most innovative technology to help diagnose and treat patients in the most effective way. Okay, number 4 would be training. I feel that we should train the team regularly in various aspects. For example, one, how to use the equipment best, and also in customer service in order to maintain these high standards of professionalism in patient care. Okay, the next one would be customer service. I think it's important to cultivate a very good quality customer experience where patients can feel that their welfare is taken care of and the priority in the whole clinic. Constant improvement, I think we should constantly look for new machines and acquire better technology as things progress, and also constantly look for new courses to improve the staff in terms of personal growth and improve our own clinic image and marketing. And lastly is to value add. I think small things do matter, so I always look for ways to add value to the patients. For example, I recently created a mobile app which allows the patients to have a better experience when they come to the clinic.
Well, going back to investing in equipment and imaging, what are the products that you especially rely on and why, Dr. Peng?
Yes, so for the refractive purposes, I rely on, for example, the IRL Master 700 with the TK function from Zeiss, because I feel it gives very accurate biometry as well, and also the Galilei for topography. I also, as a retina surgeon, have the Optus Ultra Wide Field retina photography and the Heidelberg Spectralis for OCT and angiography also. And then I use the Zeiss Humphrey Visual Fields for glaucoma. And for treatment-wise, in terms of laser technology, I rely on the Iridex for micropulse laser and the Alex Tango Reflex, which allows me to do yet capsulotomies, vitreolysis, and SLT. It has all those functions. And also I have the Tixel machine for dry eye treatment. And when it comes to surgery, then yes, we also use the Zeiss Lumera with the Callisto function. And our machine that we use for vitrectomy will be the Constellation from Alcon.
Now, I heard originally that your business model involves serving the Indonesian population, but in Singapore, and so you had to pivot from serving local Singaporeans due to COVID, or you had to pivot to serving them. How did you manage that pivot and still stay in business during this time?
Yeah, so originally we largely serviced Indonesian patients who come to Singapore for medical tourism. So due to the pandemic and the borders were closed and they could no longer travel here, so we had to arrange delivery of the medications and eye drops to the patients in Indonesia through DHL. But at the same time, we also pivoted by doing three things. One, we provided COVID tests on the site for pre-departure and pre-event testing here in order to bring awareness about our clinic's existence to the locals. Number two, we tied up with other general medical clinics in Singapore to provide eye screenings as part of their annual health checkups. And thirdly, I took the time during this time to launch an eye health book for the public to create awareness about eye care in general and about our clinic.
You also created a mobile app to help support your business, I know. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I created a free mobile app that you can download from the Play stores or Apple stores. It's called the Asia Retina app. It allows users to conduct simple self-eye assessment tests, for example, for their visual acuity, astigmatism, contrast sensitivity, color vision, and macular function. And more importantly, it's for our patients to store their own eye medical records in their profiles, that the imaging that we do for them in the clinic will be there for them to see, and it allows them to set reminder alerts for instilling their eye drops. So I thought this app would be good to give our clinic an edge above other eye clinics, and it's a sort of a value add for our patients.
Yeah, and I remember before when we talked, you mentioned the importance of the clinical team beyond the doctor. So what's your team culture like?
Yeah, I do believe that the clinic team is as important as the doctor. So our team culture is one of openness and empowerment. Openness because I encourage open and honest feedback from everyone in the team so that they all feel heard, and valued. And empowerment meaning I give the team direction, but I trust them to carry out the tasks, without micromanaging, so that everyone has a valued responsibility and they can play an active part in patient care so that everyone builds a meaningful relationship with the patients as well.
All right, Dr. Peng, excellent answers to those questions. Come join me back to co-host the rest of these discussions. So okay. We're over to Dr. Magiz Anandan of the UK, who is live, in fact, from the UK. We'd like to ask you some questions now. So Dr. Anandan, you are from India, sir. And you didn't set foot into the UK until the year 2000, but you managed to set up a private refractive practice in, let me just get this straight, in one of the most developing countries in the world. Yeah, that is the UK, one of the most developed. So how did you do it?
Hi, everybody. Hi, this is Miguel Anandan. I'm from Birmingham. I'm sitting here in Birmingham. You have to believe me, take my word for it. Sorry, my background isn't working. But I'm a corneal/refractive surgeon, and greetings to everybody. Yes, Matt, you're right. I arrived to UK in early 2000. I did my medical school in India, Chennai, and I was very lucky to be part of a very large eye hospital. Most of you might have heard about it, Aravind Eye Hospital, for 2 years before I came to this country, where I picked up, apart from immense clinical knowledge, a lot of work ethic, and which stands me good until now. I also was quite lucky to be in a developed country, as you say, in UK, where the system is very fair and recognizes, appreciates individuals' skills and talents without any bias. So I was able to do what I wanted to do. Obviously, when you get to UK, you've got to follow the process of training, and I did all of that. Did my fellowship in Australia as well. I did my registrar training in Oxford before I ended up as a consultant in Derby, Birmingham area. So my main building base for my refractive practice, the reason how I was able to build it up is using my NHS work. As you may not all know how NHS works here. That is almost 90% of all medical treatments done in the National Health Service here. As I started in 2010, I was able to do quite a lot of cataract work, volumes of corneal work since 2000, and it was relatively easy because of that to set my refractive practice, because I already had a nice trust and relationship built up with my referral base, which is mainly the optometrist. As Anton said, we also have the main optometrist as our referral base here, because generally the patients here, the first port of contact for them is the optometrist, like their GPs. They are their family eye doctors actually. To already have that kind of relationship was huge, and obviously you need to have other things as well. And one of the main things, I was lucky enough to be part of one of the large private hospitals here, where I was doing my refractive lens work for a while, which is a large chain charity Nuffield private hospital, which they have 31 hospitals around the UK and lots of wellness clinics as well. And they were very supportive. So my practice actually is very unique. And I was the first one actually in UK to have set this up. I have my own practice, but actually it sits in a private hospital at Nuffield in Derby. So I own all the equipments. I bought everything, but they house it for me. So it's a strange setup, but it works very well and works perfectly well for me. Obviously, you got to have the right people working for you as well. So, it doesn't happen just with one person, even though I am one man show in a way for laser. I do have quite a lot of friends and colleagues who I co-manage with, which is very, very important when you're doing refractive surgery, especially laser refractive surgery. You need to be able to tap into experience and advice for second opinions for people who do this all the time, high volumes. So I was quite lucky in being able to tap into experience of people who does quite a lot of smile procedures as well. So in a way, it's just I was lucky, right place and the right time to set this up.
Okay, so I hear that you said that having a background in NHS was very important for setting up your practice, but then subsequently you set up your own practice in a private hospital. So
yeah,
maybe you can explain about the connection.
Well, as I said, the ophthalmic practice in UK is very unique in that the first port of contact for patients is usually the optometrist. And they are just like GPs for any other medical conditions. And because I was in the NHS already and performing regularly more than 1,000 cataracts and 70, 80 corneal grafts as well, a year in the NHS helped me build that trust with them locally. And because they could see the results and hear from the patients when they've been to see me. Majority of the patients obviously go to the optoms for advice, including for laser eye surgery or at least, generally UK public have a great faith in the system and process. I say that because I come from Chennai in South India, where when you have a medical problem, there's always this 2 opinions, 3 opinions, 4 opinions before you actually end up seeing somebody. Here, the system is so fair. They have a really good faith in the system. So they just go and ask the optometrist and they basically say, well, I may not be able to give you advice, but I know a guy who can give you fair advice. And that's how I sort of built it up. So the NHS, without the NHS, I wouldn't have had that kind of a rapport, to build up this practice.
Now, I heard that Zeiss has helped you stand out in a competitive marketplace through differentiation. Could you explain that a little bit?
Well, yes, obviously, Zeiss has done, majority, people know most of the stuff. And I think Anton and Andrea explained how important to have the technology at the forefront. And we know most of Zeiss equipments, like, the microscopes, IOL Master 700s and that I use, they're all made by Zeiss. So So it was fairly straightforward and easy decision to go with Zeiss for most of the equipment. And obviously, the Zeiss, I would say, probably has the broadest of vision correction portfolios amongst all the other providers. That's one of the main things. With laser, obviously, I'm constantly fighting. In UK, the main laser providers are the high street chains, big chains. They are our biggest competitors, we call it as, if you want to call it that way. But so you've got to be different from them. And one of the ways I could do it when I wanted to get into the refractive world is to have the SMILE and the Presbyon, which is so much different from anybody else who could offer outside. So laser-wise, they definitely offered significantly more than any other providers could offer. That's one of the reasons why I went for Zeiss. And obviously in the lens market, they all already have a broad portfolio of lenses, you know, the Tobii Torics and AT laser diffractive multifocals and Lara EDOF lenses. And one of the other important things I incorporated when I actually set up my laser practice is to have the Zeiss forum. I think most of the guys who use Zeiss will know that the EQ workplace, which is based on the forum as well, they're so seamless and reduces all the risks of transcription errors when you calculate the lenses and biometries. And so it had the full package. I mean, not to mention the most important thing, the support with the fantastic support team they have. Until now, and I've had this laser machine for nearly 3 years now, until now, every single list has been individually supported by a Zeiss technician. They don't have to be there, but that's just the way they work. And that's one of the massive reasons why I went with Zeiss.
Okay, and so you started up a private clinic in cataract, and then later on you started a private clinic in refractive surgery as well. So actually, were the two experiences sort of similar, or did they differ?
I think in UK, I think it's a must. There are very, very few, I would say, people who just provide laser eye surgery. You need to be able to provide the whole repertoire to be able to attract patients. I mean, obviously, because I set up the private cataract clinic long before the laser, I was doing the basics stuff like meeting the optometrist at their practice, educational events for optometrists and involving them with the community. Sorry. So having a good lens practice, it meant that I already had a good rapport with the local optoms. So it was very, very handy. And also the most important thing is the patient group that we are looking at, even with the lens practice, between the age group of probably 40 and 55 is where you actually make business sense, business ticking. This is where the money is. People are willing to have disposable income in that age group. And that's also the age group where you need to be looking at lens surgery as an option as well as the laser. So it just sort of nicely mixes up with the age group. And, you know, in a way, because I was providing the lens practice and service already, it was easy for me to delve into the laser.
Well, Dr. Nandan, thanks for your perspectives there. So we're going from the UK back to the motherland in India to talk to Dr. Kankaria, last but certainly not least. So Dr. Kankaria, thanks again. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for the kind invite.
Great. Well, how has adding ophthalmic surgical tools such as SMILE helped you to grow your practice?
Thanks, Matt. So basically, the unique thing that we have in my practice is probably one of the very few centers around the world where we started with SMILE on day 0. So when we had no patients in house, we had nobody, but we invested in SMILE because I was extremely convinced about both the scientific aspects in SMILE as well as the psychological aspects in terms of the patient's mindset. So what has happened over years is that we have seen in many countries that the LASIK has seen a steady decline. the number of LASIK procedures around the world have grown to become a plateau, or they have actually grown to drop. One of the reasons, of course, was there were many reports of having constant dry eye. Some websites such as LASIKcomplications.com and a variety of patients who have been doing a lot of, let us say, promotion against the LASIK procedure actually made LASIK into a downfall. Smile definitely made a differentiator because as a patient, what we want, as a patient, they want a procedure which is very quick. They want a procedure which is extremely quick to recover. They definitely want a procedure which is going to be the safest that is available of the options today. And of course, with the current generation, especially if you look at India or even many people in Western world, they are on the computers and mobile phone all the time. They already have a pre-existing dry eye. So definitely smile became a differentiator because now first, scientifically, this was definitely the quickest procedure that you can do on a patient. The recovery was so fast that we could actually very confidently tell the patient that within a day or two, you can start your normal life. This was something including their overhead bath. I think this was something which was new to the patient, never seen in the LASIK era. They have also seen that having the flapless procedure was something which was a differentiator, because whenever we said the flapless nature of the LASIK, they really become comfortable with the procedure as such. People who were even on the fence thinking for getting refractive surgery for almost a decade readily became, let us say, ready. They were readily jumped to undergo smile procedure. So we have definitely seen in our own experience that Smile has added the number of patients to the center. Our growth has been, I think, one of the reasons for our steady growth and great growth has been Smile. Second thing is also it brought a lot of reputation to our center, because being a micro invasive procedure, it differentiated our procedure, our center from any other center who have been running here for almost more than 30, 40 years odd, and who did not have the access to Smile. So to conclude, I think both scientifically for a surgeon and psychologically for the patient, it has made a big impact, and that has made it as a differentiator for us.
Okay, what do you think patients consider before choosing a center or clinic for their refractive procedure?
Yeah, so I think again now we are in the 21st century. This is the era of internet. So definitely people are looking at multiple factors when they want to visit a center, and they would like to go to a center after they are convinced already that probably this is the center where they would actually choose to undergo the surgery itself, not only for evaluation. So in current, of course, era, they are going to choose a center which will have possibly the latest technology which is available, such as Smile now. They also are looking at a center which gives a full array of all the options which are available in refractive surgery, such as you should be able to do LASIK, femto-LASIK, topography guided femto-LASIK, Smile, ICL procedures, cross-linking procedures, combination treatments, bioptics procedures. So a patient is actually looking at a center which is actually doing end-to-end refractive solutions, and not a center which is only doing LASIK procedure as such. They're of course looking, when they choose a center, I believe that they are definitely looking at the social reputation of the center. And now in the current generation, I think internet social reputation management is extremely important. So they definitely go to multiple avenues. They don't only land up in your clinic. They will check your Facebook page, they will go to your Instagram page, they will go to your website, they will look at different avenues on YouTube to see if you are really one of the best options for them or not. And of course, the technology that they are trying to choose. So it's very crucial that you have the best of the technologies that are there in the world. You update yourself, you create a good reputation scientifically amongst your peers by doing a good scientific work, and of course amongst your patients by your social internet reputation built up.
Now, your center has been doing refractive surgery since 1985, which by the way is a great year. Lots of great facial hair that year in 1985. But can you tell us about this 36-year journey of refractive practice?
Yeah, thank you. So our hospitals, they have started to perform refractive procedures back from 1985. It was one of the first centers in India to offer refractive surgery. And of course, back then there were no examinations. So my father, Dr. Prakash Kankaria, actually started to perform radial keratotomies in those days in 1985. Then we went on to start ALK procedures in 1989. We acquired the exam laser in 1994 and started the PRK and LASIK practice from that time. And almost in the early 2000s, we acquired the femtosecond laser, then just starting the femtosecond LASIK and the ICL procedures. And in early 2012-13, we also acquired the SMILE procedure. So SMILE technology. So I think from the era of RK now coming to the era of ICLs and SMILE, now this has been a great 36 years of journey for us. What we have seen overall is I think the patient's mindsets have changed a lot in last 36 years. So from being a patient, now the patients have become consumers. So basically they are looking at definite results. They are also looking at procedures which are extremely safe. And that is when I think overall looking at all the procedures, it is very crucial that you are offering a patient the safest available procedure that is there in the world. So this 36 years of journey has taught us that.
Okay, what do you think are the untapped avenues for further growth in refractive practice?
Right. So I think as we see refractive surgery in many parts of the world have come to a plateau, especially if it is a LASIK-driven practice. I will say if we are looking at untapped avenues for refractive surgery, I will say currently there are two. First one are the patients who are actually what we call as patients who are sitting on the fence. These patients who are sitting on the fence have been thinking to undergo refractive surgery for extremely long time, but are somehow not convinced about the safety of the procedure on their eye. And these are the patients who keep postponing their refractive procedures or getting a refractive surgery done. So I think one thing which has changed in terms of SMILE for us is that these patients who have been thinking about LASIK for almost a decade now suddenly jump to our clinic and they say that, Doc, I have been thinking to undergo LASIK for 10 years now, but now I feel that I can safely undergo because there is a flapless option. I was always afraid of getting the flap cut done on my eye. I was always afraid of getting a big flap creation on the eye. So now because we have the flapless LASIK option, definitely, these are the people who are definitely untapped currently. Second, definitely is presbyopic population. As you already know, presbyopia is definitely the holy grail of refractive surgery actually. And there are millions and millions of patients around the world who are potential candidate to undergo refractive surgery after their 40s who get reading glasses. And with the newer generation technologies which are available, such as either press beyond till the age of maybe 50 or 55, or maybe after 55 to 60, you can choose a trifocal lens exchange. So I think this presbyopic treatments are definitely the next avenues, and it's very crucial as refractive surgeons that all refractive surgeons get a great hang of it. And I think compared to a SMILE or even a LASIK procedure, people who have had correction for their reading glasses, which reading glasses are better as your patient ambassadors, because all their friends are in their age group and everybody is using reading glasses, and somehow now suddenly this guy comes up and he is able to read his mobile phone without without the glasses. So that becomes like a big factor in their whole circle. So we have seen that the patient-to-patient communication and the mouth-to-mouth publicity is much, much better if you have presbyopia treatment also available to you. Yeah.
You know, a final question here for Dr. Kankaria. What tips can you give regarding staff training to make them part of your practice growth story? And then after that, we'll open it up to questions for all panelists. Please go ahead, Dr. Kankaria.
Thank you. I think this is extremely crucial because as we know, all of us are well-trained refractive surgeons. So the patient definitely comes for the doctor, but the whole journey is very, very important for the confidence booster. Right from the receptionist or the telecaller who is going to take the phone call from the patient, it is very, very important till the surgeon that everybody is going to speak the same language. So they have to speak exactly the same language. So that requires a lot of training. It is crucial that probably once in a week or once in 2 weeks time, you always have meeting with your staff, make them understand about the technologies that you have, about the advantages that this technology has. Many times what happens also is that although you tell them that, okay, let us say that a SMILE is the best or it is minimal invasive and we don't have to worry about issues or complications much as compared to other procedures, they are still not convinced. They will get convinced only after they have actually experienced it with you. That means that I have taken each of my staff to the operative laser room with me everybody has seen a live smile surgery being done. They have seen how quickly it is done. They have seen how minimally invasive is the procedure. They also come to me. They have rotation with me to see the post-operative rounds, to see how quickly the vision is recovering in these patients, how comfortable they feel, how the dry eye in smile patients is lesser as compared to the other patients. So when they are convinced themselves, it is very easy for them to actually translate the same language to the patient. So whenever a patient asks them, Ki, I'm thinking about smile, what do you think about it? They say, you don't worry because it's the best right now. So I think this is very, very crucial that your staff is convinced. There is a tagline that we use for our hospital, which is known as Asian Eye Hospital. So the tagline is where every eye smiles. So of course, we want to make them understand that this is a place where we do minimally invasive procedures. That's why it's very comfortable for the patients. And also the name of Smile as a technology is also available with us. So I think these are things which are crucial for you for staff training, that you have to give ample time to them and make sure that they're really convinced about what you're speaking.
Excellent. Well, you know, it's not over yet. We're going to the full roundtable to ask a few questions. Thanks so much to the panelists so far to this point. First question up, we have a question from the audience for Dr. Andrea Russo. It says here, Presbyon is a huge 40% of our business. This is the best and less invasive alternative to RLE. Patients love this and refer patients to us after having the procedure. I believe we need to stress the Presbyon is faster, safer, less invasive, and overall better than RLE. This is a great marketing point. What are your comments, Dr. Russo?
Well, at the beginning, when we started doing Presbyon 1.5 years ago, just in the middle of the pandemic, it was kind of a bet. And so at the beginning, of course, we moved those patients from the OR for RLE to the laser room to have Presbyon. And of course, this increased a lot the number of LASIK cases in our practice, but there was a drop in the number of, let's say, OR cases, lens cases. But after 1 year, we have such a great number of referrals coming from happy Presbyon patients, and they refer you new cataract patient, new Presbyon patient, new LASIK, new all kind of patients. So it's a great momentum to exploit, also because take into consideration that Presbyon is affecting people in the middle age, ranging between 40 and 60. This is the age where patients or clients in general have money to spend for themselves, for their health, for the eyes at the end of the day. So this is probably the public that we want to pursue, that we want to have in our practice. So first of all, we need to do segmentation, targeting, and positioning according to our tools that we have, ranging from cataract to smile and maybe Presbyon. So Presbyon population, presbyopic population in general, is the way to go. Also for a marketing reason, because they refer you a lot of new patients. Excellent. Well, Dr. Peng, are you picking up any questions from our audience here?
Yeah, okay, I see a second question. This question is to any of the doctors. An investment like lasers in refractive surgery is better suited for large practices, not individual ones. Then why has group formations not followed?
I'll answer that if you want. So I think the reason is because in a group practice, so a large group practice, you've got a big investment in one specific tool that's not going to benefit the group, you know. So it's really hard to divide up the profits, if you like, from the laser business amongst the general group, whereas the actual purchase of the laser and maintenance of the laser is such an expensive investment. So as an individual practice, it's much easier to contain the costs and to spread the profits, if you like, from the practice amongst the investors. I think if it's a small group, it's far more focused on the goal, whereas if it's a big group, you've got lots of different people doing different things, and it's really hard to get a cohesive refractive surgery business, if you like, you know, or cohesive refractive surgery model amongst all the players. So I'm only talking from my own experience, because you know that's how I've set it up. But I would imagine that in a big center, it would be tough. And I have been to some centers where there are multiple refractive surgeons coming and going and using the same laser. And what I experienced from that was that they all came and did little bits of surgery and left. And there wasn't one individual who was really focused on using that machine to the max, if that made sense.
Now, the hot topic in terms of the next question is, what is the effect of the COVID pandemic on your respective refractive surgery practices? And maybe we could just, you know, try to sum that up real quickly from a few different panelists. Would anyone like to take the floor?
I'll chip in again. Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's been good and bad. So it's been good because people have got disposable income. So people aren't spending their money on expensive holidays and dining out. So there's a lot of disposable income which people have, and they've got time because they're not going on holiday and doing all these things. So that combination is really good. So I've got a lot of patients coming in because they've really simply got nothing better to do. The bad side, obviously, is if there's lockdowns and the disruption to business, which is very annoying. And we're experiencing that at the moment, which is very frustrating. But overall, I think it hasn't been a catastrophe. And I mean, you can tell that from global refractive surgery markets, which have actually really benefited during this time.
Anyone else
agree,
like to comment?
Anton, sorry, I agree. We've in UK seen a huge increase during this time as well, for the obvious reasons Anton explained. They probably haven't been to the holidays and they've got disposable income in their hand, and also there is some element of you know, sitting in front of like this webinars where you sort of more conscious about what your eyesight is and glasses needs are, and the masks that doesn't go very well with the glasses either. There's been a few reasons for unknown reasons, actually, to be honest. There's definitely been bigger pickup of laser eye surgery business after COVID in UK.
I think, Dr. Russo, you also said you have a big rebound effect after the COVID.
Yes, that's true. The reasons are obvious. My colleagues probably share the same experience, which is, of course, a good experience. And on top of that, we live in northern Italy, which is pretty much cold in the winter time. So patients have moisture in the glasses, they get fogged, and this is one reason more to get rid of glasses. So for all these reasons, the pandemic had a good rebound effect on refractive surgery. But this is a worldwide shared news, good news for us.
Dr. Peng, did you see that question about social media by chance?
Yeah, there's this question to all the doctors. What is your favorite social media platform to attract your patients and why? Well, I can share first. For me in Singapore, I find that the Google reviews is one of the probably most frequently viewed, and patients who come to my clinic normally say it was because they saw a good review on Google. And I find like the other platforms, be it Facebook or Instagram, is somewhat not so useful for me because maybe my practice is not so much the young refractive. For me, my practice involves people with real visual problems. So sometimes when you see ads and you don't have a visual problem, there's really no need to see a doctor. So it's not something that they want, but it's more like something that they need to look for. Yeah.
Amazing. Any other comments out there on social media? We're doing LinkedIn Live right now for the first time as a major event in ophthalmology. So this is definitely a first. Any comments on LinkedIn or other platforms, anyone?
Well, I believe that once again, you need to segment, target, and position your marketing according to the segment of patients you want to get. So we prefer exploiting Facebook for, let's say, older patients, let's say cataract and presbyopia, while Instagram is for younger patients, so they are candidates for SMILE, for LASIK, but not forget to raise your YouTube page, because YouTube is not a proper social media platform, but it's a huge opportunity for us to educate patients, because at least here in Italy, they don't really know what is the technology available out there to help them. I would say the ICL, the Presbyon, the SMILE. So patients must be educated on this, and YouTube is a huge platform, and patients see the videos maybe for 1 year, for a couple of years, and they come here in this room and they say, hey doctor, it looks like I already know you because I've been watching your videos for a couple of years, and I finally made my decision because yesterday I broke my glasses. And this is a very recurrent sentence. So please try to educate patients, maybe also educate the colleagues with the technology we have now available.
That's excellent. Well, panelists, you have heard each other speak now extensively. Do you have any questions for each other to learn from each other, or just to expand the knowledge here?
Actually, I'm interested to know what kind of social media platforms that you guys use as well. I mean, we heard from Dr. Russo, but Dr. Anton or Dr.
Yeah, so I agree with you on the Google. So our advertising really is only on Google and Google Ads. We don't really do any other advertising because I think it's the best value for money that you can get. We do it maybe, but we've just started on Facebook, but that's once again, Andrea's right. Facebook's not really targeting our, the young myopes. That's more sort of Instagram and TikTok. We've got a TikTok account, which I haven't really used, but that's exactly sort of the market that we should be looking at, and also an Instagram. And once again, going back to our our Asian cohort here in Melbourne. So, there's WeChat and all those Chinese platforms that we haven't really come to grips with. And it's we really try to get a sort of targeted marketing campaign on those forums, which is tricky, because you don't want to get those wrong. The message has to be correct. And it's, we're still exploring that option.
Yes, Dr. Peng, yeah, I agree with your point as well. Google, I have used almost all of the platforms before. Now I finally decided the one that actually makes a massive difference is the Google. We sort of seeing in England that anybody who's actually seriously interested to make a decision, like I need to go and see somebody tomorrow, they're going to just type in laser eye surgery in wherever they are. That's the most common thing that they're going to do. They're not going to go back on the Facebook and look for the ones they saw a month ago or Instagram. It's always Google. Even if you're going to spend money, I would definitely recommend spending money first on the Google before anything else.
I think I will also agree with all the other panelists that Google is probably the most searched engine when it comes to making a decision of where to do the surgery. But I think I will definitely, as already said by Dr. Andrea, I will not discount YouTube, because I think where to do the surgery, they mostly decide on Google, but which surgery to undergo, most probably they're going to choose after they have listened to a lot of talks on YouTube. So on YouTube, they have the avenue to actually gain knowledge about the technology. Once they have gained knowledge about the technology, then they will choose which center to go to. So I think both these aspects are important. So Google and YouTube will be my best choices.
Excellent. Well, beyond social media, any other questions from panelist to panelist? We want to know. Well, if there aren't any further questions, we're just wrapping up then. I'd like to thank each and every panelist for their time, their energy to this great discussion. And thanks for joining the Anchorman series of roundtable discussions. Please do join us later this year for the third part of the Anchorman series. Panelists, thanks again for joining. All the best.
Thank
Thanks
you
very much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.